Yes, you just missed my catching you up on things, so we're going to move along. I forgot that I had muted the microphone for weird reasons because I don't have the microphone active on my stream starting screen. All right. It is, I think, time to attempt to. I think this board is dry, even though it has just. Yeah, it's all sticky with flux remover. I guess I'm going to desolder the trimmer pots to see if there is any way. Oh, they'll fit around the parts that are conflicting. I might as well go ahead and attempt to desolder and tempt fate while doing so. And hopefully remember to grab a box of gloves while I'm upstairs next time. All right, so the trimmers that I need to remove are here and here. Here and here. Yeah. All right. So I am going to use my Echo. I'm going to make sure the tip is clean. I'm going to make sure my solder sucker is clean. It looks like it's got actually, I guess maybe that wouldn't hurt to take unscrew the cap and see if there is solder stuck in it by chance. Oh, does not appear to be the case. All right. It looks like the self-cleaning element is still working. I think the piston's supposed to clean that when you depress it to activate it. It pushes out. We're supposed to push out whatever's in it. Oh, all right. I'm going to make sure my tip is clean. See, I don't think I need to tin it, but I just wanted to kind of clean it. So now the tip is shiny. I have my Hako set to the temperature that I normally solder with. I dare not go any higher. I've added flux, and I am going to oh, I'm not sure that removed any solder at all. Alright, moving along. I guess I will go to solder wick. I'm going to try to push this back in the tube because I pulled way too much out. Because it is solder wick, it is also heat wick in a way. Oh, that's not... Alright. So, another trick for desoldering is add solder first. Sometimes adding fresh solder can help. Actually, that might... that might have helped more than I give it credit for. Alright, now let's see if that trimmer is... Well, it looks like it is almost ready to come out of there. I think now I might be paying the price for bending the leads to hold it in place when I soldered it. Well, I've got it almost loose. Alright, well, let me, Alright. So in order to not burn my hands, I'm going to hold the, well, I mean, the potentiometer case is plastic, so all right, there we go. I have, oh, yes, removed it, and yeah, it looks like I removed it cleanly. So that is the 503, the 503 of shame. The 503 of, if I measure it, oh, well, it's quite possible that that it's, one of the pins got, well, now that is just weird, because I know in circuit, I measured this at 14 ohms across the pins. All right, well, whatever was wrong with this potentiometer, I don't know. Okay, so that's the 503. So 504. 502. Oh, of course. Okay. So let's see if this part will fit in there. So I'm also going to double check on the parts list. So that was TM4, I believe. TM4. TM4 is a 503 potentiometer. All right. So the replacement I bought for this is actually not a multi-turn potentiometer, because that was probably one of my mistakes, because it was really hard to set it to the middle position. All right. And this might actually fit here, because I don't have to contend with an encoder. Well, it doesn't sit totally flat, because a diode's in the way, but all right. Well, as long as it works. Now, of course, it was probably silly of me to solder it before I tested it, but this diode test, capacitor test. Well, I don't think that trimmer was defective. I think whatever's in the circuit with that potentiometer is just throwing the meter off, which is weird. I thought measuring the resistance across the two pins would give you the resistance of only what is in circuit, because this new potentiometer is measuring 14 kiloohms, just like the old one was, that I thought was defective. But the old one measured 50 when I pulled it off the board. And I'm measuring this other one that was in the package. It's probably going to measure 50. If I can hold it steady enough. Yeah, 50. Well, I guess the main thing is the new one is a single turn and actually has a center mark. So it'll be easier to tune. Well, that's just highly annoying. Alright. TM5. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this other one with a single turn potentiometer. So it's one of these. Alright. So alright. So I added a little solder. solder wick. Try to accidentally melt plastic. Oh. All right. Well, by golly, I didn't even expect that would work. I read about it on SparkFun's website. It was the SparkFun called it the slap method of desoldering. Said you melt the solder, and then you drop the board. I got the first pin out. If you're wondering, that's the first pin. The slap method actually worked to get it out of the board. I mean, there's a little solder in the hole still, but All right. Well, hopefully I can. Got 2 pins still. Up. There's the second pin. Clear the board. I wish I had something that I could poke that through with. Alright, well, I got the leg. I'm trying to get the old leg almost out. Or trying to get it out. It's almost out. There we go. I got it. I got it out. Now, of course, I got to get the new component in. I've got solder in the... Guess now it's probably just repeatedly. Wash, rinse, repeat. Well, I got 2 of the 3 holes cleared. That's wonderful. Well, let me see if I can get 2 of these pins through. The 2 holes that are cleared, and then maybe I can do something stupid and not recommended to get the trimmer pot in. Spinning the pin sideways. All right. Yeah, I got... Oh, actually, the 3rd hole is almost cleared. Well, that might have done it. Yeah, that did it. Alright, well, it doesn't sit flush, but it's at least a single turn and has a clearly marked center point. And I think it looks good. Make sure that... Alright. Now I'm going to test it. I'll double check something on this board. go. That looks like that's at the center point. All right. Now, these two sides should be all right. But I think that's fine. The important thing is, I think that there's continuity. Yep. All right. There was an itty bitty amount of damage from my desoldering. But I covered it with solder. I put solder over the bare copper, so that should well, those trimmers don't look the best because they're too big, but they're functional. I'll blame it on the pandemic and component shortages, and I couldn't find 1/4-inch trimmers that I knew had the right pinout easily, so I went for 3/8 inch, and I guess really that was just a little bit too big. It'll be fine. Once it's in the case, you'll never see it unless you need to adjust it, and, well, the important thing is I don't need to order more. So, anyways, that was 502 in TM5. Well, if I ever have to replace components around that, it'll be a little difficult, but I'm up to the challenge, or at least I'll destroy the board trying. Alright, so at least the capacitors that are 100 volt that I kind of thought was wrong, I will leave those on for another day. I guess once I get the power supply situation fixed, I can try testing this circuit again. At least now I know where the center point is of the trimmers, so even though I can't measure the resistance, at least I know they're centered, and I can start from there. Alright, that all looks good. I guess I can see if I can find something to try to fix my damage here. So, yep, this trace here is lifted. So really, I need to I need to find something to... I mean, this resistor leg here would be fine to connect. I wish I had some... Unfortunately, I don't have any wire. Like the stuff Bruce at Branca's Creations uses. So I'm going to improvise with some resistor legs. So I guess at this point, I don't have much to lose. I've already... Now, mind you, I'm just using... Alright, so I kind of tried to twist this into a curve. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to solder... Try to solder the pin of the header and the other 2 points along the wire so that this wire has something to hold on to. So let me see. First, I'm going to add some more solder to the point that I'm going to use as a anchor, the component that I'm going to anchor to. So that hopefully I can tack Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I sent a solder blob flying. So I'm going to have to find the solder blob. Alright. Well, let's try this. So I'm going to add solder to the resistor. Like so. And it ended up sticking to the soldering iron. Lovely. Well, actually, that's probably fine. Actually, let me see if I can use this tacky flux to my advantage. Maybe it's enough to hold the resistor leg down. In place. Maybe. Oh. Well, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, well, now maybe I've got enough solder there that I can actually get the resistor to stay and not get solder blobs all over my desk. There we go. Well, all right, so there's that. And now I wonder if I have something so I can scrape some of the... If I can find another point that I can solder to that's closer, maybe? All right. All right, let me think about... All right. Well, this may be the worst looking repair ever, but Well, on the janky repair scale, where 1 is why are you even rating this, and 10 is super janky, I think that probably rates as an 11. Maybe that'll teach me to order some enameled bell wire. Yeah, now I'm going to see if by some miracle it actually makes contact where it should and that there's no shorts to ground. And I half jokingly say that because I think that's actually the ground connection. So maybe in this case, I need to make sure there's no shorts to a voltage rail. Alright. I did that because my multimeter will not measure accurately through it'll measure just fine through isopropyl alcohol, but not through flux. Alright. Alright, so that you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. So this pin here. Oh. Yep. Alright, on the back side, I've got continuity. Alright, and let me just check these adjacent pins. Okay, I'm not shorted to that. Not shorted to that. Not shorted to that. Not shorted to that. Alright, let's check the top side. So the middle pin. Okay, I think that is. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah, middle pin is ground. Alright. Alright, it does appear as if Alright, it appears as if my super janky repair has rescued the board. So maybe I won't need to fall back to this other board. Um, well, if I can wait for the isopropyl to dry, I'll clean up those capacitor holes where I pulled those capacitors out. And get the board ready for... I mean, I may still switch to the other board because that's not the only repair I've made to this board. Because I also had to make a repair here where I burned some traces off. But then again, maybe this is fine. I mean, those wires are not going anywhere. Alright, I guess let me see if I can't clean up these here real quick. Oh, that's... Add some solder. Oh, actually, that hole's pretty much cleaned. Alright. Oh, that didn't work. Yes, it helps when your solder sucker does not go sideways on the board. Well, that's just not really what I want it to do. Alright. Find the package of capacitor or resistors that we have way more of than we need. Fortunately, some parts are like super cheap when you buy them at a quantity of 100. Ah, here they are. Well, they were super cheap. Now they're probably just cheap. Have a pin in it still? No. Alright. Well, let's try this. Alright. Well, I've got 3 of them clean. Ah! Alright, I don't know where that solder blob went. The drop method works again. What do you know? Well, I have 4 lovely clean solder holes ready for soldering the new capacitors. Oh, and there's a little piece of a chip lead that was stuck down between 2 of the diodes. That might be a good catch. Well, have repaired it, seemingly. It looks like the sketchiest repair in the world. Wish I had something to put on it to insulate it, but I don't. Well, now I've kind of at an interesting point. I could finish. Well, I can't test this without those two capacitors. So I'm going to wait for the ones I ordered. Because I guess if I'm going to try to use this, I need to replace them. And I'd rather solder what I think's the correct value on. I guess I can leave the leads long enough that if this board doesn't test out, I can desolder them and I still have enough legs to put them on the other board. Because I am a resonator and two capacitors away from being able to test the USB chip. And I guess a USB connector. And before you ask, well, USB supplies power. Well, on this board, the USB power is not going to the FTDI chip. The 5-volt rail is. So actually, I do need those capacitors. If the FTDI was being powered by the USB, then yeah, but the XOXbox draws more 5-volt power than USB. Probably even USB 3, but this is much older than that. So I guess I could see here. I guess I could solder just enough to be able to test the 203 and 205. So this is the 10 microfarad. All right, I guess I'm gonna give this a try. Let me find the 10 microfarad. Worth a shot. I mean, I'll solder, but I can't test. Okay, I need the resonator. I think, is this it? Yep, that's the 6 megahertz resonator. Luckily, I've got a spare of that. I believe the 6 megahertz resonator is the correct value. Yes. All right. Alright, well, I guess I'll solder these. I guess that's how close to done I was on Saturday when I stopped for board destruction. Oh, I don't like how much solder I got on those. Let me. I blobbed the solder on a little too much. So I'm cleaning up my solder joints. Alright, that looks better. Alright. Put those. Put those. The resonator does not matter which direction it goes in. Alright. Alright. Resonator's on. Yeah, that was, I think, where I left off. So I got the ceramics, because there's C204. And C202. And I've got that poly cap. And I got all the resistors. Yeah. Alright, let me see. I think I've got some pin headers on my desk. I'm going to go ahead and solder these pin headers in, and then I am going to, if I can't find the USB connector, I think I have two of them. Oh, no, I just have one. Well, they're... Oh, they're easy to come by. I mean, I could steal one off of something else if I had to. And yes, you are seeing my component holding method that they do not teach you in engineering school, or at least I doubt they do. I mean, what would I know about that? I did not go to an engineering school. So maybe they do teach you this trick in engineering school. Even though I would think that maybe they would actually teach it in the theater department. And that is use gaff tape to hold your pin headers in place. All right. And maybe not the best trick, but it works. Right. I guess those pin headers look decent. All right, they're straight. They'll accept wire headers. Excellent. So, I guess I'll go ahead and attach my USB jack. And then I will be in a place to test this on Wednesday. Oh, that's right. Actually, I'm fine. I just remembered. The other board already has a USB jack on it, so if I had to fall back to it, I don't need to order another USB jack. So actually, I'm good. It already has a USB jack on it because I had trouble reflowing the chip, and so I actually assembled it enough that I could plug it into USB. All right, there we go. Now I'm not going to put the other connectors on it until I've confirmed it works. In case I have got to fall back. If I have to fall back, I'm good because the fallback board has a USB header on it. I mean, I'll have to desolder the these two big caps, but that should be fine. Because in fact, actually, I think on this board that's leaded solder. So, well, I'll set that back over to the side in case I need it. So I guess I am now waiting for these caps because I want to put what I think is an appropriate voltage rating. Although I guess I could double check the instructions. Make sure I'm not imagining something. Yeah, power supply takes 9 volts AC from the power plug and doubles it to 18 volts AC. Yeah. So I wasn't imagining things. That actually is 18 volts, not 16 volts. Yeah, I think those capacitors are misrated on the kit. Probably should have been a 25 volt, not 16 volt. So I will definitely wait till I get those capacitors, and then I will put them on the board, and that will actually be enough for me to be able to plug this in and see if it connects by USB. And if it does, I'll also make sure that I still have the 5.333 and 12 volts here. And if that's the case, then I'll just put the jacks on this board. And I mean, I may finish the other I/O board and hold it in reserve. But yeah. Well, I guess I'm feeling better because I repaired the board, even if it looks totally ugly. It seems to electrically be correct. I wish I could check it more, but these capacitors are required for power. So that is going to conclude tonight's stream. I guess I got further than my brain thought I would, because I thought I was going to fail miserably. But it looks like I eked out a win for the Assembly Goes Smoothly team. And since I'm almost done with this board, there's not too many more mistakes I can make with it. Knock on. There's no wood around here. I'm in a basement. It's all concrete and metal. Well, I guess there's a composite wood beam behind me. So, yeah. And the trimmer resistors I ordered fit, even if they're not the prettiest, they fit. So, I'll keep them. Anyways, that is where I'm going to conclude. If you would like to follow this build more, you can drop a subscribe on YouTube or a follow on Twitch. Make sure you ring that bell icon, because otherwise you won't be notified on YouTube. Although sometimes if you do ring the bell, you still don't get notified, but you definitely do not get notified if you do not ring the bell. That's for sure. If you would like to help me pay for these expensive electronics misgivings, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee. You can buy me a coffee, and that will actually let me put my usual coffee money towards electronics parts. And actually, I kind of would like to buy a solder rework station, or at least maybe one of those vacuum desolder pumps, so that I can maybe feel a little more confident about desoldering. And that would be nice if I could put my coffee money towards a desolder pump. If you felt inclined to buy me a coffee, I will certainly enjoy it. I do also have been pondering setting up a Patreon, although I do have Ko-Fi, which is kind of like Patreon, but maybe is not quite as... Well, maybe it's a bit nicer, but I may set up a Patreon too, because, well, actually, I have a Patreon page mostly set up, I just never published it. But buy me a coffee's there. I like coffee. My coworkers like it when I have coffee, whether or not they actually know it. So that will help me with my electronics adventures. So hopefully on Wednesday, I will have my Mauser orders, because at least one of them shipped today, and I suspect if I check my email, I'll see the other one shipped. So I think Wednesday I will continue on the Xoxbox build. I'm hoping maybe I might find something that will actually clean some of this flux off the boards better than the flux cleaner I tried to use yesterday. Yes, and for anyone that realizes I have an ultrasonic cleaner, I actually cannot ultrasonically clean the Xoxbox main board because the potentiometers are not sealed, and the instruction, the datasheet clearly says do not immersion clean, so I can't put that board in the ultrasonic cleaner as much as I'd like to. So I'll have to find something that I can use that is not an immersion flux cleaner, but that is also not the Chemtronic stuff I bought that comes in a spray can. It has a little spray brush that seems to have about every nasty chemical under the sun in it. That did not clean the flux off the board. It kind of spread it around. So obviously I have the wrong kind of flux for it to have cleaned. But yeah, Wednesday, hopefully it'll be back on the Xoxbox. I should have parts. UPS guy usually does get here early enough that I will have the parts before my scheduled stream. And there's a substitute driver. Could be the UPS gal. But hopefully I will have them in time for the stream, because I'd really like to actually have a couple streams where I have positive progress towards completing the Zoxbox, because that would be nice. So tune in next time. Hopefully I will build and not destroy. And with that, have a great evening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.